Welcome everybody and welcome to AMA with DNK weekly live stream. This is episode number 48, building product features versus business verticals. And of course, this is AMA with DNK. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started with the presentation. As I said, this is episode number 48, building product features versus vertical. Give me a few seconds to set up everything on the screen here. Uh, all right. Okay, folks, give me a second. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, let's begin. Okay. So, most of you already know me. My name is Dilnawaz Khan. I'm the founder of Code Design Labs and PowerDeck. I've been a part of Indian startup ecosystem from 13 plus years. I help founders in creating pitch decks, and I also help them in raising early seed and angel rounds. That is what I have been doing. Give me a second. Again, there's some disruption with the presentation. You need to give me a second. There's a couple of technical glitches while we do live, but that is what I enjoy the most because then I get time to talk to all of you folks as well. Thank you for your patience. We'll go in full swing in a second. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so MA with DNK is basically my weekly live show where I talk about startups, entrepreneurship, and topics related to startups, products, world of business. And the idea is to, of course, help each other and become a better entrepreneur. And if you have any questions, as always, the live chat is open. Please make sure you come on the live, ask your questions, drop your questions. I will be picking up all the questions in the end, so you have enough time to drop in your questions. If you're listening to me today on Clubhouse, uh, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the 1 hour session. It'll be super fun, super productive, and really, really, really beneficial for you if you're an early stage startup founder building a SaaS or a tech company, or if you want to kind of look at the presentation as well and you want to ask your questions. YouTube live is happening parallelly. All right, so in today's session, let me give you a brief once again of what we'll be talking about. So there are a lot of things related to product development, feature development, and business verticals, and a lot of first time early stage startup founders get confused while they're building companies. When you expand the business, you will find yourself at this crossroad whether we should build a feature, build a new product. Should we go and expand horizontally? Should we go and expand vertically? Or rather, should we start a new vertical altogether? And there are hundreds of queries, that are there in your mind. And on top of it, what to add, when to add, how to build, whether we should invest that money or not. There's so many queries that are in the mind of a first time founder, early stage startup founder. uh, and in today's session, I'll at least give you a broader glimpse of how you should kind of go ahead on this journey, and how you should take care of your product development journey and your startup journey around the product, whether you are coming from a technology background, even if not coming from a technology background, or otherwise as well, right? So we'll be talking about a couple of broad topics. We'll be talking about product features. We'll be talking about, we'll look at a couple of case studies. We'll talk about good product practices, bad practices, ugly product practices. We'll be looking at a couple of examples, real life examples. As I said, I'll be also picking up a couple of examples from Clubhouse, LinkedIn, famous companies that all of us follow and know. We'll be also talking broadly about horizontal and vertical integration. Very, very important concept if you are into product tech space. And most importantly, we are going to talk about product ecosystems. If you, my friend, are a founder in 2021 and you are going to be a founder in 2022, you need to learn and understand how product ecosystem functions. The best example is of Apple, but of course, because I'll really, really go deep into this, and I'll not be picking up uh, Apple's example, but I'm going to pick up an example of one of the latest companies based out of India. So wait till the end, and of course, the Q&A is open. The live chat is open. If you're watching me on YouTube, please make sure you drop your comments in the live chat. I will really appreciate some sort of a support, some sort of a love, some sort of a comment there. And if you are listening to me in Clubhouse, enjoy the audio version. Of course, most importantly, and this is something I want in return, or it'll be really, really beneficial. Make sure you like the video, because when you like the video, YouTube algorithm tells more people that this is some content worth watching. And this is all built for you free of cost for the founders, just to give back. So please make sure you do that, and of course please make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's very important. And of course the chat is only for subscribers. This is one restriction I've put on, because subscribers should get some benefit. So sub chat is for subscribers only. And if you want to get in touch, other social media handles are in the link. You can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, other channels as well, right? And of course, once again, I'll quickly repeat that the live chat is open, and you can use that. So let me begin with the story of why even I thought of conducting this session, why even I thought of talking about this topic. So uh, uh, why do you and so let me go to the basics. Let me go to startup 101. When you are building a company, when you're building a startup, right, there are three basic reasons, how or three basic steps you go through. This is the part of the process. You want to solve the problem of the customer, therefore you think of an idea, you create a solution around it. You want to validate the problem, and you do it using some sort of a primary and secondary research, and then you build an MVP. You basically then go to customers, take their inputs, and collect the data. And I've of course done a lot of videos already on MVP, primary research, second research, how to acquire customers. Those videos are already there on my channel. But what intrigued me, as I said, what intrigued me to do this video is I saw the latest urban company advertisement. And I'm not sure how many of you have seen it already. If you've seen it, drop your comments in the chat and let me know you've seen it. So for you, here is the latest ad on the screen. Two snapshots, two screenshots, very very important to have a look. Number one, which says introducing video consult. Now it's an amazing feature. I'm sure you yourself would have felt excited when you saw this video. In fact, if you look at the guy's expression, it's phenomenal, because we as Indian consumers, especially when it comes to handyman jobs, were always confused. We don't know that whether the electrical product, or that coil, or that wire, or that bulb, or that machine, or the refrigerator, whether our consultant or our service provider is giving us the right rate, or whether even he's telling us the right problem or not, right? And urban company plugged in a new feature which they call as video consult. And what they said, okay, get the diagnostic done online, and we will even give you correct estimates. And it's a fantastic feature that was there. Right now, this is one feature which the reason I find it exciting, I find it very intriguing rather, is because uh, this is not a new feature. The first time I experienced this feature was on Practo, and I have been using Practo for almost 3-4 years. In fact, last year when I went through COVID, my first consultation happened through Practo, because remember I was a part of the second wave. I survived the second wave. I can say that. And the problem was that everything was jam packed, and there was dearth of doctors, and it was very very difficult. So Practo came as a savior, and the video feature really helped, because it was great. And then of course, teleconsultation were, of course, a lot of people were trying to build it. It was a hot market, because in a lot of villages, a lot of remote areas, video consultation, sorry, doctors are still not available, therefore video consultation is the only thing that could have been done. So what happened when I saw this particular feature happening? It was exciting, because I never imagined, but to be honest, that something like this can be implemented in such a way. And I then went into my as always curious researcher mode, and I started looking and learning more about the urban company journey. So the next screenshot will tell you how interesting the urban companies, or formerly urban claps journey was. When urban company started, they basically started by providing uh, soft services, right? And which we call in technical term call as handyman services. So if you need to get some appliance repairing done, they would send a guy. If you need to get something repairing done, they would send a guy. Electricity, refrigerator, TV, all those things. And then slowly and gradually they expanded their horizon. And if you see on the screen, they came into cleaning services and disinfectant services, especially during the pandemic. And then, of course, they started salon at home. And during the pandemic, they literally blew apart, right? It became a huge hit for them. Now, what happens? If you look at the next diagram carefully, right? Urban Company is offering multiple services on the horizontal layer, and then on top of that layer, they have built another feature, which is like a video consult. So not every service that they offer will be requiring a video consult. Ideally, it will be only required or only be used when you are getting some repairing work done. But most importantly, that is how you integrate a feature on top of a service. And it's a beautiful diagram. If you look at this very, very carefully, it's a very it's a mind boggling diagram that will help you to understand how uh, from one service to another, multiple services were integrated on a horizontal manner, and then features were built on top of it, stacked on top of each other, so that the horizontally, and then the vertical integration can happen. This is one example of horizontal and vertical integration. I'll go deeper into it, rather have a much more complex example, complex diagram, as in when I move forward, right? So I'm sure you will find this both exciting and confusing, and let me tell you how. Because as a first time founder, your thought process generally is to build everything in the first go. And this is what I hear from so many first time founders who reach out to me, who come to me, and they want to build a company like a Flipkart or Apple on day one, and they want to raise $1 million, and they want to build the perfect product on day one. Now, there's a very, very big problem, very, very big red flag when it comes to this kind of approach. And I can assure you, I sit on Clubhouse almost on a daily basis. I do these live almost on a weekly basis. I, in my career, have heard more than 7 to 8 thousand pitches. I've evaluated more than 5,000 plus decks, and I hear so many times the first time founders committing this mistake. Their pitch would be like, hey, I have a great idea, here are 100 things I want to do, give me $1 million so that I can do this 100 things. The problem with this pitch format is that you don't know the outcome, you don't know what's going to happen, because you haven't done your research. This is absolutely a wrong strategy, both from a product development point of view, a startup development point of view, and of course from the investing point of view, because you are building a castle in thin air, which is not the right approach, right? And of course, if you are, again, let me reiterate, and let me add, if you're listening to this for the first time, if you're hearing this for the first time, I would very, very, very strongly recommend you to learn something about product development and how to build an MVP. I have already done a video back in January 2021. The video is called MVP in product development. It was episode 25. After this video ends, go and watch that video again, and then come back, and maybe you can resume or you can watch it again, because in that video I have given enough examples and have taken you through the entire product development journey. So anything around basic product development, MVP development, I have covered into that. But coming back to the point, as I was saying, if you know the basics of product development, lean startup, MVP development, you would know why the example I gave you was so wrong. And it will become so difficult for you to raise capital using that example, right? Now, because this video is more onto business verticals and business features and all of that thing, let us now look at a few case studies and a few examples of how product journeys of some phenomenal and famous companies have worked out to be. The first example I want to kind of talk about is product journey of Clubhouse. Yes, product journey of Clubhouse. When Clubhouse started, it was merely a platform where people could just start a room, maybe get some people, and interact with them, bring them on the stage, and so on and so forth, the basic things. But a few very interesting features got introduced almost after 1 year of running this platform successfully. And those features are, let me go feature by feature. The feature number one, which got launched on 23rd of September this year, was called Wave, which means you can simply wave at somebody if they're live on the platform, and you can go with them in a private room to talk and chat about it. Why? Because Clubhouse was being used for by a lot of people for relation building, business development, live interaction. And if you like somebody in any shape and form, I have seen so many, in fact, dating rooms happening on Clubhouse, and people have even in fact got married on Clubhouse. If you haven't seen that or heard that, go and find in the news. People have literally got married while being on Clubhouse. They found their life partners on Clubhouse, and Clubhouse has literally come out as a savior for so many people back in lockdown. So way feature got introduced because earlier what was happening, people were going off the platform on platforms like Instagram and all of those, and therefore Clubhouse was losing the audience. Every product manager, every product designer knows they want to maximize the usage time of the product. So therefore the wave got introduced. Phenomenal feature. And because as I said, because the audience was dropping out, they wanted audience to stay. If somebody's live, wave at them. If they replies back, start a room. Boom, great product feature. Second was pinned links. If you are in my Clubhouse room right now on Clubhouse, again, this was a great feature because redirecting somebody was literally a very very big pain for speakers on Clubhouse. And why? Because and I'll give you my own personal example why it was what was such a big pain. Because I used to run rooms, and then I used to tell people, okay, go to my Instagram, and on my Instagram you will find a Linktree link. Click on that, and then it will take you to another place. Now it was very 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 cumbersome, and you need to understand a consumer or an end user psychology. They don't want to kind of do so many steps. They don't want to keep on switching the applications. And then a lot of people, what I learned, a lot of people were not in fact on Instagram, so it was so difficult for you to kind of send them from one place to another. So Clubhouse got this feature introduced on 22nd of October, which was pinned. Now you can plug in a pin in the room, and boom, you can send anybody anywhere on any link. And this one feature, basically, the reason I love this feature is has kind of increased the conversion to uh, of Clubhouse platforms to lead funnels, to databases, uh, in a super fast manner, right? So it's a again a great feature, right? Then replays got introduced. Clubhouse wanted user retention even after the room was dead or even after the room was off. So Clubhouse wanted that. They wanted to also incorporate something like a product kind of a sorry podcast kind of a feel, and live and replay came into the picture. And if you haven't experienced replay, you should definitely do that, because it's almost like sitting in a live room but in more like a podcast format. Amazing feature, and Clubhouse used it because they wanted to uh, bring in the users or retain the users even after the conversation has ended. And a lot of them people can turn their replays on and off, and can also use other things as well. Last feature is again amazing that they have used, is called clips. Now I don't know when exactly clips got launched, but the beauty with clips is clips gives a speaker and even other people in the room an ability to basically go for social validation or social share. I'll give you an example. If all those people who are listening to me in Clubhouse, if you liked something, if you enjoy something, if you think I made some valid point, right, you can simply clip that part. You can clip that past 30 seconds and share it on Instagram, share it on YouTube, share it on your social media, share it on WhatsApp. And therefore this has given speakers a lot of the platform social validation, social share. Amazing tool. Now, the reason why I gave you all these four examples, because these are great features, good features, amazing features, but they were not built on day one. Clubhouse was a very, very simple platform. They learned over a period of time, and once they learned it over a period of time, then they understood and took a feedback. And another great example before I jump onto the next case study is Clubhouse does, in fact, Clubhouse core team does weekly town halls, and their town halls almost have 1 2,000 to like 3 4,000 people every time, and they collect active feedback from the user. That is the kind of features, or sorry, feedback mechanism they have developed. So amazing way, right? If you have understood all these four features, remember they're a great example of great features built over a period of time. Now To top it all up, the best platform that has now turned product into features. Now this is a very interesting concept that all of you should remember and understand, which means, and this is one question rather that will come so many times, and investors will ask you this question so many times: are you building a product or are you building a feature? Now what do you mean by that? Sometimes when you're building something, you might not even be building a complete product. You might just be building a feature which either can be monetized or can just be plugged into another feature. The best example of that is Instagram, which has technically absorbed great features from great products and have literally killed those products. Two examples, and I'm sure a lot of you would know about it, but if you also want to kind of share your comments, the live chat is open, please utilize that. Two great examples are stories from Snapchat. Instagram literally blew up through stories, and then reels from TikTok. So both of these platforms, or both of these features that they derived from these two dedicated platforms. Stories were technically, they literally copied stories from Snapchat, and they literally copied the format of scrolling of short form of content, from TikTok, right? uh, One thing you guys should remember, or rather if you want to again learn more, because I've been doing so many videos, I have done a video long back where I've spoken about why Instagram is a perfect video platform. And still in 2021-22, Instagram is a perfect platform if you want to build a social brand. It's a great platform where you can mix and merge multiple other things. In fact, now when we're talking about Instagram, and this is something I did not prepare, but I just want to add so that you folks can remember. I'm not sure how many of you know, but Instagram rolled back their IGTV feature, and they now call their video feature as just videos, right? That brings me to the next topic: features that were rolled back. Now, it's not like that every feature that you're going to build, and this is the most exciting part of today's conversation, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, uh, especially in early stages, who have not failed enough, uh, think that whatever they're shipped out, whatever they're rolled out, is perfect, and they just keep on keep on carrying that zombie feature throughout the product life cycle, which is a very very bad practice. So let's talk about features that were rolled back. The one of the best examples I gave you, one of the examples I gave you was Instagram IGTV. When they started, they assumed that mobile will be an ultimate video platform, and people will be looking to watch vertical content, which technically failed. IGTV did not work out, and they were basically trying to compete with YouTube, but YouTube has a very very different kind of a audience base, different kind of a persona as a product, and therefore it did not work out. But two latest recent features that were rolled back were: one was LinkedIn stories, right? And I'll tell you the reason why, because again, this is a very important lesson for all of you to remember and understand why these features were rolled back. Now, LinkedIn stories stories was not what was not something that was out of the box. you know Instagram saw stories happening on Snapchat and other platforms. They picked them up. They picked them up. They integrated them, and stories work like wonder on Instagram, but LinkedIn stories failed miserably, and they had to remove it back. Another great example of that is Twitter Fleets. Now, Twitter Fleet was again almost like a story like format. The content would use to get over or expire after 24 hours. And the same happened with Twitter Fleets. They had to roll back Twitter Fleets. In fact, there's a fantastic article you'll find if you just Google "goodbye Fleets." It's an official announcement from Twitter that why they basically rolled back Fleets, right? Go and read that if you get time. Two main reasons why both of these platforms, both of these features, technically not platforms, my bad, why these two features were rolled back. Number one, lack of reach. Whenever a new feature is rolled out, it has to be rolled out in a manner that people adapt it. And why will somebody adapt it? People will adapt it because it will give them some sort of an unfair advantage. I still remember making my first reel video, wherein I just said, hey, this is reels. This is how reel looks like. It was that dumb. And that video, and in those days I just had around 2000 or less than 3000 followers on Instagram. And I cannot tell you that one reel just got me around 1500 views, and it had no content technically. It was of use to nobody. And that is basically I'm talking about. The platforms give unfair advantage, unfair push to the new feature they put in, because they want creators and users to adapt and use them as much as possible. Similar thing happened, when they brought in stories, right? Look at the reach of stories at this point in time. If you want to grow your Instagram audience in 2021-22, you cannot live without making reels and stories. And I have not been doing both, unfortunately, but I have a new strategy for 2022, and that's a different conversation altogether. But understand, folks, people have literally built their Instagram following audience, literally careers, just because algorithm gave them unfair advantage, because algorithm was favoring reels and stories, right? And this is the reason why LinkedIn failed. I have almost 5 6,000 followers on LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn viewership, my story viewership, was less than 100 every time I used to post. That bad LinkedIn algorithm was. It was not the product, basically, it was not the feature, basically, it was the algorithm that basically had to, because of which they had to kill it, right? Now, of course, LinkedIn has a very different kind of a consumer base. LinkedIn runs on very different kind of algorithm. But this is one of the reasons why both of these products have to be rolled back. Now, if you like this one example about stories from LinkedIn and Twitter fleets being rolled back, and maybe IGTV being rolled back, this is not just true only for digital world or tech products. This is also happening in physical products. And the best example I can quote in front of all of you is removal of touch bar from Apple. I think everybody knows that the new MacBook that has come out uh, doesn't have a touch bar, right? And they have literally rolled back the entire feature. In fact, there are three examples I want to give you. One, touch bar is gone. Second, if you're seeing it on the screen, the touch bar is gone. Second, the ports are back. They literally remove the ports, but the ports are back. And third, and most importantly, MagSafe is back, which is a very, very, very important integral part of the Apple product, right? Now, the reason, and I'm not sure how many of you saw the Apple developer event when they launched this entire thing, and they were like, okay, they were trying to cover up that, okay, more the ports and better this is, and that is, they were not technically willing to accept that. Apple, of course, they will not accept their mistake. But the problem was that the users literally hated the touch bar. It was technically of no use. The users literally were frustrated because you had to put in so many of dongles and multiple other things, so they had to bring in, right? Now, if you look at this overall approach, right, this overall approach is much, much, much easier, which means rolling back of features and maybe experimenting with features and products and all of these things. It's much easier for software companies and software products vis-a-vis hardware companies, right? And I'm sure, I hope that all of these examples that I gave you, Apple, uh, Twitter, uh, Facebook, Instagram, IGTV, all of them, if you know of any such examples, because I have my own limited understanding and limited capacity, if you know of some such interesting examples of features rolled back, products and services being rolled back, please, please, please comment in the live chat, right? And once again, if I have to reset it, because I now want to go on to the uh, last bit, or the most interesting bit of the conversation, where I'll be giving you one very interesting example and case studies. And I'm sure you would have been enjoying the conversation up till now. Folks, if you are watching me on YouTube, of course, thank you so much for coming here. If you're listening to me on Clubhouse, this entire thing is also getting streamed on YouTube. And you can, of course, click on the link on the top of the Clubhouse window and go to YouTube, because I'm also running a presentation here. So that is what is happening. So, and of course, if you need to make any comments, if you have any suggestions, if you want to share examples, ask questions, most importantly asking questions, the live chat is open. So please make sure you ask your questions as well. Now, coming on to the last part and last bit, which is very, very, very interesting, which is understanding ecosystems. And if you are a product company, a startup, a services company, or or no matter what kind of startup you want to build going forward in 2022, you have to understand the broader overall concept of building ecosystems. But again, let me repeat, let me reiterate, let me give you this advice: ecosystems are not built on day one. And I have got a fantastic example for all of you, and here is the story of Ola, right? And why Ola, I'll tell you. Because in Clubhouse, a few days back, I got pitched by somebody wherein that person said that, okay, I want to build a company where I can make electrical cars, or I can make electrical scooters, something like that. Now, if you want to start a company like this, you will be needing tons of money, and you will be needing a lot of hardware. And in fact, if you're able to raise successful capital, the problem is you will need this entire money to go into hardware development, or maybe R&D, or maybe into buying assets. Now, the golden rule is investors, especially investing into equity, will not give you money, one, to get started, right? Or sorry, no, they will give you money to get started for basically asset buying, which basically blocks the money, or they will not give you money for R&D in general, right? Equity, typical VC investors, equity investors will not give you money for these two things. They will either give you money to go hyper growth, which means once you become a company like Razorpay, Ola, Cred, they will give you money to dump into the market and reach out to as many consumers, as many users as possible. Or they'll give you money at a very very early stage, where the risk is uh, technically large, but then there are high risk small ticket size VC firms as well, giving you money on equity. So therefore, let's look at Ola ecosystem, because it's very very interesting. So the first product, or the first thing that Ola launched in the market, was Ola Cabs, which was launched in 2010. I'm not going into acquisition story. I'm not going into another gray area, but I'm just trying to teach you and show you how the horizontal vertical integration gets played together, and how eventually this overall these all these things play together to build out an ecosystem, and how in this entire ecosystem horizontal vertical integration plays together, right? So they launched Ola Cabs in 2010. Of course, everybody knows the story. It was a simple mobile application. In fact, I don't know how many of you remember this. When technically Ola got launched, Ola Ola, you could have booked Ola even using a mobile phone. And then eventually, once Uber came into India, they removed the mobile phone booking. There was no call center. They literally removed the call center bit. Uh, and it was just an application. If you are somebody who knows about it, make sure to comment and let me know if you have used Ola in those days, when Ola had a call center, and you could simply call Ola using a mobile, or using your using a landline, right? The reason is because one of the biggest reasons why Ola wanted to, or Ola had to start from that, use by that feature, or they had to start from that calling feature, because though that era was pre-geo era. Right now, post geo, everybody got smartphones. Smartphones became cheaper, internet became cheaper, everybody got access to internet, so and so forth. But that was an era which was pre-geo, and therefore not everybody had a smartphone, not everybody had this solid internet connection. And most importantly, there were people who are not this much aware about startups, technology, tech companies, tech platforms, and therefore the default utilization was done. In fact, to reach a normal man, the default mode was to go on a calling thing, right? Downloading an application and building an app only ecosystem was not the right was not the what was not the most smartest thing to do back in those days. But then later on, they realized that, okay, Uber is in the market. Uber is spending enough money. Uber is rather burning tons of cash, giving huge discounts to people, so that these people can uh, you know uh, uh, these people can basically utilize you take a ride, experience the platform, experience the product, and therefore eventually they removed it. So on your screen, Ola Cab started in 2010, 2 3 years, 5 years of operation. They acquired Taxi for Sure. They built a tech platform. In fact, their current tech is built on top of it, and then they removed the calling feature. But two interesting thing happens that happened on the horizontal layer. After starting off cabs, they basically went two steps behind. They integrated autos, and they integrated bikes. So they integrated autos in 2014, which is called as Ola Auto. They integrated bikes in 2016, which they call as Ola Bikes, right? Now they started as cabs, and they also expanded their services to autos and bikes, which means they basically expanded horizontally for the customer base. So same application could now cater to a wider audience for more similar services. This is what you call as horizontal integration. Now, another great thing happened once they ventured into bikes and autos. Next screen, if you see, the moment they had bikes on the platform, now they can transport people, but they now can also transport food, logistics, which is hyper local logistics, and therefore Ola started a food vertical back in 2017. Now if you are seeing this diagram, if you're seeing all of this being played together, this is a very very smart strategy. So they started with cabs. They were trying to solve a problem of one kind of user. Then they went into auto, bikes, and now the bikes are there, they could now order food, right? Similarly, if you look at parallelly, what was happening in the cab ecosystem, now if you see bike and food, basically this is called as backward integration, right? This is technically called as backward integration, or you can call it backward integration into the vertical mode, right? Again, I don't want to confuse you into MBA jargons, but just understand the broader way how Ola is trying to build an ecosystem around its products and services. And again, let me repeat, this was not done on day one, my friends. This was done over a period of 10, 11 years. They started in 2010. It is 2021, almost end of 2021, right? Now, if you look at the cab ecosystem, they basically acquired a company to basically offer something called as Ola Fleet, where they could offer their fleets to corporates, which means from a B2B kind of a business model, they went on to become B2C. I have done a lot of other videos on my YouTube channel on different kind of business models. There are at least 2 3 videos. Go and watch them if you get time. Again, the detailed videos like this, master classes like this, go and watch them. Ola Cabs 2010, they acquired a company, started something called as Ola Fleet, and on top of it, on top of their car service, they started something called as Ola Corporate, which was a complete suite of services to integrate with corporate. And that is how they went from becoming a B2C business to also becoming a B2B business. If you again look at this happened after 5 years down the line, they started the business. Then something very interesting happened, and this is an absolutely different vertical. But again, this will, or rather, this should give you goosebumps if you're watching this live. This should give you goosebumps. Rather, this should blow your mind if you are a startup product guy, which is Ola Money. When they went to corporates, when they started a fleet, when they were already experimenting with this, because they were exchanging money and using third party gateways, they started something called as Ola Money and Ola Wallet. And if you don't know, this is exactly or almost similarly, this is the story of Paytm as well, right? uh, I still remember back in 2010, Paytm, or end of 2010, 2011 starting, Paytm was used only for mobile and DTH recharges. And the reason why Paytm wallet came into the picture, because if your recharge would fail, maybe for a mobile phone or a DTH, the money would get refunded, which is a bad thing to do. So basically, they said, okay, we'll keep the money with us, and then you can come back and utilize. The best part of adopting this practice is you still have the customer's money, therefore they will come back to you to buy. Very very smart strategy. Everybody uses it, and this is the reason why fintech is such a cutthroat space now. This is the reason why, and fintech is one of my specialties. I deal with so many fintech companies and now even crypto companies, and this is the reason why fintech is such a cutthroat space, number one, and fintech is such a interesting space on the other side. So Swiggy has a wallet, Zomato has recently launched a wallet, your Ola has a wallet, your Paytm has a wallet, your Freecharge has a wallet. Everybody now also entering into other services, other spaces as well. And if you don't know, if you want a classical example of offline, all your stores like Lifestyle and Shopper Stop and all of them also kind of give you a pseudo wallet service, right? They would say, okay, do you want to take the money back, or can you give you store credits? And store credits is ideally a virtual currency they will put in your virtual wallet or a pseudo wallet, wherein they haven't given you the money. You can still buy the product, but the good part is the customer stickiness happens, and that is a very very smart move. So Ola Money happened in 2015. Very interesting example. Now, if you now look on top of look on top of it, this is where, after 3 years post Ola Money, Ola Electric happened. So basically, Ola started the electric company or manufacturing of bikes or a plant or all of those things 7 years after they basically started the main service. And again, it's a horizontal expansion of the business. They were not into bike manufacturing, scooter manufacturing, they were not into electrical. But look at the beauty of this entire diagram. In 2017, they started it. And why were they able to start it? Because they had enough stakes, they had enough stakeholders, they had enough investment on the board, and raising like 1,000 crore was not a tough game for them. So if you are a first time startup founder, it will be very very difficult to go and raise 1,000 crores. You rather will not be even be given 1 crore. But for Ola to raise 1,000 crore becomes super easy because they have so much already happening around. And in 2012, if you don't know, Ola has also started something called as Ola Car, which is basically again the horizontal expansion of the car business. Now that they're coming into second-hand car and also into car insurances. And therefore, once they start doing it, very very interesting example, they are going to now compete with likes of Car Dekho. Because just to kind of give you another example, Car Dekho started as a platform where people can search for cars, they can buy new cars. Now then they venture into old cars, and now they're also getting into car services, and on top of it and below it, they're into car insurances and bikes and all of that. So again, they have built an ecosystem over a period of 10 years. This should literally blow your mind. If you're a startup founder, if you are a product guy, if you're a services guy, if you're a early stage founder, this entire ecosystem approach should literally blow your mind. Let me give you a couple of other examples based on you know I would say sectors that will again give you a lot of basic insights, which you can of course go out there and research more. Other examples: number one, a lot of tech companies have adopted this entire practice. Companies like Razorpay, companies like Freshworks, companies like Zoho. Razorpay started from Startup Oasis back in 2014 or 2015, I remember, and they were just building a payment gateway. That is what they were trying to build. Now, if you go to Razorpay websites, they have almost around 20 products, and their overall spectrum has also widened. The banks are their customers, the businesses are their customers. They've launched some products for startups and then consumers and multiple other areas. So Razorpay is there, Freshworks is there, Zoho is there. Again, great examples of tech SaaS companies building all sort of ecosystems. Then logistics companies. What do you mean by logistics companies? And what's the difference between technology company and logistics company? The core difference is that if you are a technology company, the entire delivery, what I mean is entire delivery is happening on online using internet, digital. You haven't met somebody from Razorpay, you haven't met somebody from Freshworks, you haven't met somebody from Zoho, you haven't met somebody from Paytm for that matter, right? But logistics company means you are placing an order, kind of e-commerce, D2C, mix of all of that, but involves a logistics component, whether hyperlocal or non-hyperlocal, which means companies like Myntra, Nykaa, Zomato are a great example. Myntra started, I'm not even sure how many of you remember about Myntra, but when Myntra started back in 2010, I still have a mug from Myntra. Maybe I can put a snapshot later on in the comments. Myntra started as a printing company, merchandising company. They're printing t-shirts and mugs. And then what happened? Somebody said, okay, can you print this merchandise on a branded cloth? Which is, can you get an Adidas t-shirts and print my merchandise? And they started into sportswear. They were the first company to do that. And once they started putting their printing on their on branded merchandise or branded products, they then entered into the fashion market and started full suit store for branded clothing. And then eventually they evolved, and now they are the largest fashion store. They are now the fashion store or the fashion ecosystem. You'll find products, perfumes, clothes, so many other things, footwears. So it's a complete ecosystem. Now similarly, Nykaa, they have their own range of products themselves. Look at Zomato, how they've expanded. Beautiful examples. Go and read about all of these individual case studies. You will learn tons. And then the best example, Apple, right? They started by making laptops, and then iPhones, and then iPads, and then you have iCloud, and you have App Store. So they're basically building another kind of an ecosystem. You have a hardware layer, you have a software layer, you have a cloud layer. And again, I missed, somehow I missed typing this, but Amazon, look at how beautiful their example is, right? They started and rather, I think, I'm not sure, 30 or 40 years, but Amazon started with such a dumb thing to do. They started by selling books online. And then they started increasing their product categories, and now because the traffic was huge, they created a payment gateway, they created their warehouse, they bought in a jumbo jet, they created a logistics company, they created their own servers, which is AWS. Half of the unicorn websites run on these servers, and then now they're building rocket ships. So look at the Amazon ecosystem, folks. These are a few of very interesting case studies all of you should look at and learn at. I always say, whenever I talk to all of you, I always talk about it. Startup is a Startup is not fun and games. It's fun and games. You should be enjoying building a company, but startup is most importantly, uh, it's a serious learning journey. You and I are learning every day. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from other people's mistake, we learn from what other people have do, and it's an endless learning process. And I hope all this information, all this knowledge, all this bit would help you in learning tons about what other companies are doing, and will help you in going forward in your own startup journey. With that, more or less, this is what I prepared for you. It took me almost like 7 8 days in bits and pieces to prepare, but I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. uh, I will now take a break. I'll wait for another 10 15 seconds. If you have any questions, because the format is also AMA, or if you have any questions about pitching, pitch decks, funding, entrepreneurship, your own startup, or if you have any questions about, let us say, what we spoke about, if you have any counter questions about what we spoke, please drop them in the live chat. The live chat is running on YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to answer. If you don't have any questions, we will by default wrap in next 1 to 2 minutes. And that is all from my side for today. uh, and make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe the channel, make sure you spread the word about it, and also make sure check out the other videos. I think there are a lot of other videos I've done. I'll quickly reiterate it for all of you. Uh, the video on product development and MVP, a must watch. Go and watch that. It'll teach you a lot of things. There's an entire video on business model development, business models. Go and watch that. And last but not the least, there's an entire detailed video on Instagram. We spoke about that example. Go and watch that. So these are a few things that I would strongly recommend to all of you. Go and watch them, and you will learn tons. With that, let me wait for next 1 minute. If I don't get any questions on the live chat, we will wrap the conversation. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation today. Thank you so much for showing up. Okay, seems like I'm not getting any questions. So I think it's time to kind of close the session for today. So let me kind of once again, thank you so much. This was episode number 48. Folks, two quick things. If you haven't joined the community on WhatsApp, if you haven't joined my other social media handles, this was episode number 48. We are going to modify the format of AMA with DNK after the 50th episode, which means after 2 weeks, the format is going to change. In fact, after 50th episode, this might not be the format. We're cooking up some amazing great things for 2022, which we'll keep on announcing. So make sure you become a part of the community. Make sure you follow me on all other social media platforms. You want to get in touch, Instagram is the best way, or maybe LinkedIn is the best way. And most importantly, if you want to join the community, there's a WhatsApp group where I keep on posting and updating all of these things. Make sure you join that. Okay, I have got the first question from Yatish. Okay, Yatish, I'll quickly take this question. The question is, how can we raise fund when our business is not making profits currently? Great question, Yatish. And let me answer this for you. In fact, Paytm and Zomato and companies like these who have done billion-dollar IPOs are not making profits. They're making money, although they have great revenues, but they're burning cash. So let me simplify it for you in 2 words. Investors don't look for profits, investors look for growth. That is ideally the broader thesis of investing when it comes to equity investing, because investors are not looking for marginal profits. Investors will not make money uh, from your company by the profits you get. Investors will make money when a bigger investor will come and acquire their shares. And that will only happen when the value or the valuation of your company will increase significantly. And it will increase significantly. How? It will increase significantly when you grow rapidly, right? When you literally go and become a big brand. Look at what happened with, like just let's just look at this year, right? uh, I would strongly recommend go and check out the case studies of the growth trajectory of all these companies that became unicorn this year. Look at how Cred became unicorn this year. Look at how Slice became unicorn this year. 41 companies became unicorn this year, and look at their growth story. So even if you're not making profits, profit should not be your worry as a, I would say, let me assume, consumer tech, enterprise tech startup founder. Your your matrix of raising capital has to be growth. That is it. If you are a company growing with, let us say, 200x year on year, uh, not 200x, my bad, 2 to 3 times, I would say. Yeah, that's roughly 200x. If that's your growth trajectory, I think you're absolutely a fundable company, and you can start pitching to investors. And this should somehow also be in your projection sheet, and this should somehow also, you should be able to justify that. Basically, that is how you will be able to raise capital. I hope, Yatish, this answers your question, and I hope that I was able to provide you value. If you have any more questions, folks, last 10 seconds. Again, for people on Clubhouse, this we are not basically. I'm not taking. Okay, I can take questions on Clubhouse maybe later on. Give me 5 minutes. Okay, so let's wrap for today from YouTube. Uh, and once again, thank you so much for joining in for today's session on AMA with DNK. I will see you next Saturday or Sunday. Not sure, probably Saturday or Sunday. But there are tons of good content on the channel. There are a lot of panel discussions I'm doing these days. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch, make sure you like the video, and enjoy building a company. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you on next Saturday. Make sure to spread a word about that. Dilnawaz Khan signing off from episode 48 of MODNK, building product features versus business verticals. Thank you so much for coming. Bye bye. Good night and take care, everybody.